Alright, welcome back, people. Wish was under better circumstances, but as it is, we're in this pretty house where everyone's dressed up to either kill each other, stab each other in the back, sleep with the next guy's wife, all the above. That's all these people like to do. This is how they run their country, is to separate themselves from the peasants, from the common folk, and all this finery, and start scheming against one another. They will be the first to admit that in this thing they call the game here, in their political system, their own version of government, the whole thing is that nobody will even speak to you unless somehow it's advantageous for them, unless they can play off of it, unless they can get something out of it. And I understand that kind of behavior isn't so uncommon among people, but here they run their country by that. It's amazing that their country can stand at all, or even prosper with that kind of behavior trickling its way down from the top. Of course, these people, I think, separate themselves from the peasants or the common folk and consider themselves a cut above.
This ball is a waste of time, like all Orlesian foolishness.
Well said.
Let's find the Venatori collaborator and get out of here.
Have you witnessed anything noteworthy?
Nothing yet. I will let you know.
You don't seem to care much for the ball.
Orlesians pretend their petty squabbles are a game. Yes, let us treat murder, corruption, and deceit as delightful amusements. How wonderful. We are here to save Empress Celene, and it galls me. Why does she merit our protection? The Empire would be better off without her. Gaspard is the leader Orlais needs in this crisis.
You support the civil war?
Of course not. Chaos is what Corypheus wants, and we must oppose him. Were it up to me, however, I would let Celene fall and Gaspard take the throne. He would see the true threat, not spend his time throwing balls and writing letters.
Stay alert. We don't know where the enemy is hiding.
I'll be watching for trouble. The sooner we leave this place, the better.
You know, Cassandra, I understand you're here in Ferelden, and you'll defend the people of Ferelden and anywhere else, because, you know, you're a righteous girl and all that, but perhaps Ferelden's best interests aren't served by any of the people here. Or Thedas, for that matter. But the Orlesians have this thing about conquering everyone else so they can show everyone else just how amazing they are in their backstabbing, scheming, politics, slander, murder, let's see what else they got going on here. Adultery, espionage, what else? Anyway, list goes on and on, right? Oh, we got a new open door. That's cool. All right, let's go explore this new area. They really did this place well. Look, not just the lighting and the reflections on the floor and all the texturing and stuff like that, but just the overall design. Look at the art that went into this. Designing just the statues and tapestry. I mean, just everything about this. It's awesome. I'm a little out of place here. I'm finding this just a little drab, a little dull for my taste, but
we are not serving drinks. Bother someone else.
There are no mobs to kill here, so, you know, I'm not sure what to do with myself. My Canary running around here. What can I hit? What can I hit with my big axe, you know? Everything besides that is kind of secondary. Okay, we need to find an eavesdrop spot on these
Interesting.
servants over here. I guess your character says interesting when you come across an eavesdrop thing.
Interesting.
Alright, so there's more than one. There's one over there somewhere too.
The package is in the guest wing. Upper room.
The one of the garden. Statuette.
Whisper, whisper, whisper. Scheme, scheme, scheme.
Might be something here. Better take a closer look.
Alright, these caprice coins, even on a subsequent character, I did not find all of them. Almost. I found, I think, 14 of the 15 or something. Not sure what you get for getting all 15. I wonder if there's a special reward. Haven't bothered to go Google it or anything, you know. I've looked up, there's only one thing I've looked up on this game, and I can proudly say that, I reached Platinum on this, with only Googling up the damage thing, and that was for, a character build videos. I wanted to essentially know what I was talking about. before opening my mouth. I like to try to do that because I'm making enough mistakes as it is on my own. So sometimes, you know, before I say something regarding something, I would like to at least, you know the subject, something about it. So I went and looked that up. But other than that, I've been leaving this game a mystery because I didn't want to spoil it for myself. I avoided other people's videos, even friends. Some of my buddies who aren't real big on this style of RPG, so they, you know, YouTube friends. They rushed through it a bit, I guess you could say. They had this done in about half as many videos as I've made up to this point, and you know, I still have a few more to go. But yeah, they ran through the story and enjoyed the graphics and so on and so forth, and what have you. But I avoided their stuff. You know, I want to stop in their videos and leave a comment and say, hey, if nothing else, you know, just to see how they experienced it and how they played. But I didn't want to ruin the story for myself because I was taking it really slow. Oh, geez, it took me what, over 2 months just to essentially get through a playthrough. Now doing this Let's Play, which requires a lot of hours and a lot of work, doing these videos, editing, narrating, blah blah blah.
Dallying with some serving girl while I deal with Gaspard's vitriol.
Awfully selfish of this filly, running off to play and leaving you with all the work.
I've half a mind to inform the Dowager. That would teach him to shirk his duties to roll some elven maid. Tonight of all nights, leaving me to convey Gaspard's death threats to the council. Wonderful timing, Philippe. Thank you for listening to me rant. You are too kind, Inquisitor.
Sure, just pretend that what you have to say is important. That's how you win these guys' favor, I guess.
Well, well, the Inquisitor. Here as a guest of my nephew, no less. I'm curious.
I didn't know the Grand Duke was your nephew.
He's my brother's eldest boy. Always a difficult child, Gaspard. Never listened, never did what he was told. He was raised a prince. All his life we told him he would be emperor. It was his destiny, his duty. What else should he do with his life if not fight for his destiny?
Have you noticed anything strange this evening?
My niece Florian hasn't spoken to me all evening. That's not like her.
What can you tell me about the Civil War?
If you are hoping for insight, you've come to the wrong man. It's war. It is brutal, and terrible, and sometimes necessary. There's nothing more to say.
Another time, my lord.
Not your typical Orlesian there. Sometimes sensible people being caught up in this, you'd have to say, you know, just because Orlesians do this, not every Orlesian is like this. I mean, you can't just lump everybody. There are majorities. There is a, wow, what is it? What did they call it today? Stereotyping, labeling, whatever. And it's where all the other terms, like, all the ists come from. Racist and sexist and genderist and who knows? I don't know how many ists they've made up. And if they find something else, they'll make up an ist word for that too or whatever. And honestly, I don't have a whole lot of time for that. I keep it pretty simple. Either you're an asshole or you're not. I don't care what color, gender, this, that, blah, blah, blah. Just, you know, are you cool or not? I mean, do you mean me harm or not? Can you watch out for the next guy or not?
You don't want to be here.
Are you worth watching out yourself or not? You know, I mean, it's just simple rule of thumb. But I think when you stereotype, I think a lot of people, and they're made to feel guilty for it nowadays in a lot of ways, where they probably otherwise shouldn't be. But, you know, you have the social justice warriors who, you know, will cry and put a guilt trip on everybody so that they can soothe over their own insecurities and so on and so forth. But you have a lot of people who would stereotype based on experience. In other words, if I meet 100 people, my personal experience is 100 people from a particular area, and I see a behavior that fits like 99% of them, literally 99% of them. I see a general way that people act, whether it's from a certain country or from a certain gender, or from a certain background, or in a certain part of a neighborhood, or in a whatever. If I see you act a certain way, most of the time I'm going to expect that type of behavior, and when over time, when I'm never disappointed, you know, it's like people tend to do this. For example, you go to Italy and you say, well, you know, those Italian Catholics. Well, that's kind of stereotyping. Maybe not everyone in Italy is a Catholic, for example. It's not good or bad. It's just, you know, whatever. It's, you know, what people believe in that part of the country. And I would say a majority would, based on your experience, if you go there and you see many, you know, Roman churches and so on and so forth, you see a lot of people doing that, you'd say, wow, they're Catholics here. And you might even assume people are Catholic just by default and treat them accordingly. Now, of course, you come here to America and you assume anything ever, even whether it's true or not, somebody's going to find that as an excuse to get offended, because that's our mindset over here. But anyway, all I'm saying is you have like stereotyping. So for me to sit here and be in this place, in this ballroom here, and expect everyone to be a murderous, pompous, devious, self-centered, deceitful snake, 9 out of 10 times I would probably be right. Most of them are even proud of it, right? Some might be offended by it while they're actually doing that anyway. But if they can be offended by it, they can somehow play on you as being the trespasser instead of themselves. You know, whatever. It's all, you know, psychology there is part of the politics. But I'm just saying the stereotyping part of it. One could assume that, but it's not necessarily true. Like that one guy there, and that was actual Gaspard's uncle. He seemed like a probably pretty stout dude. And actually, if you really get down to it and talk to him candidly, where he was being open, he'd probably say that his nephew is a real piece of crap, actually, for what he's doing. But anyway, that's a pretty deep well for a short subject. So go on here. I'm trying to fill the void because there's just a whole lot of this. Maybe there should be a little less of it, but I was trying in a half-ass fumbling way to be kind of thorough here. And yeah, well, that wasn't working anyway. And having no idea when these doors open or how to get through them. And I know I'll find out later, but at least for now I wanted to make sure. I did kind of get that feeling, and you know what this really reminds me of? It's a much more detailed, bigger version of the party in Mass Effect 2 in the Kasumi DLC. The music's almost the same. And I have this feel where if I were a betting man, I would say that the same writers were involved here, like the exact same people,
my lady,
with the same ideas.
My lady Inquisitor.
May we have a word? It is very important.
The Empress has sent us with a message for you. How can I be certain this message is from the Empress?
We three wear the masks of House Valmont.
They signify that we are public faces of the Empress.
They are also extremely fashionable. I'm always honored to hear from Her Majesty.
Oh, she is the honored one, Inquisitor.
Empress Celene is eager to assist the Herald of Andraste in her holy endeavor.
She will pledge her full support to the Inquisition as soon as the usurper Gaspard is defeated. That's a generous offer.
The Empress believes wholeheartedly that the Inquisition is our best hope for peace in these difficult times.
She looks forward to cementing a formal alliance.
As soon as Gaspard is out of the way.
But we have taken enough of your time.
Please, enjoy the masquerade, Inquisitor.
Now, what would I call this? I would call this Celene showing her hand without showing any of her cards, essentially.
This is a private conversation.
Ah, a door to break into. Now that's more along my type of work here.
Interesting.
You must be mistaken.
No, I'm quite certain it was blood on the tiles.
If they're playing the game, they're not doing it very well. You don't leave evidence if you play to win.
With Gaspard and that elf woman here, the only one playing to win is Celene.
I have no doubts about that. Made a quick comment in the last video. Is essentially, you know, it's trying to pick the lesser of 2 or 3 evils here. We're going to find that there is nothing even resembling a right choice, and if you could just wipe the slate of all these individuals here. But I guess essentially we're between a rock and a hard place, is that we essentially need their help, or at least their bodies. We need Orlesian bodies, and the more the better available to get in the way between the land and the Elder One. You know, essentially the school of thought here is that the Orlesian Empire is the only thing standing as a buffer between the Venatori and everyone else. Us, you know, the rest of Thedas, all of Ferelden, especially. It seems like the Blights always have this particular, at least in, I say this from Origins, all right? And now I say this from the Elder One's focus there, is they seem to be extremely interested in Ferelden. I guess because Ferelden being the most tenacious of the countries, always fighting for itself and always getting back up, no matter how many times it's knocked down. There's going to be a lesson there from the Dragon Age writers also. I'm sure. I have no doubts in my mind that that is a specific motive of theirs in their writing, is to make that point very, very clear. It's the human nature that no matter how flawed you are, and no matter how many times you get kicked down, it's the gumption to get back up, even if it's a chosen few among the many.
That because you fancy the Empress's sped up estate. It sickens me to think of the chaos those Maleficarum are causing across the Empire.
Even you cannot deny that the Templars abandoned the faithful in their darkest hour. How can you condone that? They are the ones who should be brought to heel, if you ask me.
Well, that's an age-old debate. Y'all aren't going to settle that here any more than anyone else has anywhere else. I think it would be fair to say, tell me if you agree with this, that essentially the writers would make the point that they would bring it home in as realistic a setting as they can. You know, besides the demons and blood magic and monsters and, you know, griffins and whatever. Griffins. We need griffins. But despite all the fantastical stuff here, the politics, the human nature they represent here, the human flaws, the evil, the maliciousness, and sometimes the great acts of kindness and mercy, that, you know, it takes one or two great acts of kindness to buffer all the horrible things that people do in general, sometimes intentionally, sometimes just in passing, sometimes just because it's their nature, you know, whatever. But I think they put as realistic a setting as they can to bring this point home, is that what the few can accomplish among the many. That if the world's against you, that you can still stand and somehow shrug that off and tank it. And they've always got this tank that's capable of amazing stuff. Alistair was, you know, at some points almost invincible, it seemed. Aveline is almost invincible. Cassandra, less so. Blackwall, that's just my personal opinion. I'm not a big fan of him. He's actually as dumb as a rock as a character too, you know, so no, I'm not a big fan. But some really like him a lot. Anyway, each game, and of course Cassandra's being a center point, and even some of the dialogue is built around her just being able to shrug off the world, punch a bear if she wants to. Sarah will say that. Have you ever punched a bear? Well, no. Well, you could if you wanted to, you know. And Sarah secretly really, really likes Cassandra, actually. As stuffy as she might say Cassandra is, she also sees behind that veneer, behind that mask. But yeah, each game has had a tank. Now, of course, for game purposes, combat purposes, you have to have a tank or your whole party gets wiped. But I think there's even more to say, as they'll show their character capable of shrugging off all the pain and coming up with this good stuff. And then your party as a whole, you being sometimes the few, sometimes the only among the many, showing any kind of sense, right? Well, depending on your gameplay and stuff. But showing any kind of sense in the decisions you make and stuff to bring a world, keep a world from destroying itself. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we need a few of those today. In the world as it is, right here. A few that are willing to make a tough choice. Okay, well, I can already tell by the good-looking fires that actually stay lit what order you're supposed to do these in. Well, I can't say what order you're supposed to do them. Okay, now I can. Assuming this one doesn't turn. Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, let's see what this does. Oh, cool. All right, well, give me something really cool for all that genius that I just showed right there. And having to redo a 6-piece puzzle about 50 times to try to get it right. I don't know if this is set loot down here. Bet you that is, though. Confusion grenade? Cool. Alright, probably not something I'll use. I'm a big fan of bees. Bees seem to fit every purpose. I don't think any enemies are immune to bees. Okay, well, not being a rogue. I can say this in hindsight now. My next character actually was a rogue. If you watched my videos, you'd know that. I did a character build for rogue. Build videos, just like I did for the Berserker here, the Reaver. Coming through here was a little better. Of course, being more thorough. Any time you got a little experience under your belt, something's going to be easier the second time around. I didn't spend quite as long here and got 10 times more accomplished, and did get a fuller picture of this whole story. Well, I don't know. I'm still pretty vague on it, so I guess I can't say that. I got an ending the second time around like I wanted this first time around. Essentially, I want to stop the madness, and I don't want to have to make a choice. I mean, actually, the choice I want to make is that everyone stop the nonsense and kind of work together, or at least stop killing each other for a minute. I don't think you'll ever get the Orlesians to stop killing each other, because that's what they thrive off of. That's their nectar of life. That's the whole purpose for existence. And okay, apparently picking up the notes on the desk triggers this. That it's time to go. I think this is to nudge you along in this little story here. I guess you could essentially explore as long as you wanted, but there's certain things that will be kind of a key that will carry this quest on, push it to the next stage or whatever. Kind of curious if I'm going to lose any red circle. Who's this?
What have we here? The leader of the new Inquisition, fabled herald of the faith, delivered from the grasp of the Fade by the hand of blessed Andraste herself. What could bring such an exalted creature here to the Imperial Court, I wonder? Do even you know?
Morgan. Hello, Morgan.
We may never know. Courtly intrigues and all that.
Such intrigues obscure much, but not all. I am Morrigan. Some call me advisor to Empress Celene on matters of the arcane. You have been very busy this evening, hunting in every dark corner of the palace. Perhaps you and I hunt the same prey.
I don't know. Do we?
You are being coy.
I'm being careful.
Not unwise, here of all places. Allow me to speak first, then. Recently I found and killed an unwelcome guest within these very halls. An agent of Tevinter. So I offer you this, Inquisitor. A key found on the Tevinter's body. Where it leads, I cannot say. Yet, if Celene is in danger, I cannot leave her side long enough to search. You can.
You left Celene alone. Is that wise?
I must return to her anon, but she is safe enough, for the moment. 'Twould be a great fool who strikes at her in public in front of all her court and the Imperial Guard.
What's your interest in protecting Empress Celene? Are you her bodyguard?
Do I seem a bodyguard to you? If anything were to happen to Celene, eyes would turn first to her occult advisor, even if they knew otherwise. There are sharks in the water, and I will not fall prey to them. Not now, not ever.
Why did you kill the agent? He might have had useful information.
I would not have slain the man on sight had he not attacked me first. Why? Undoubtedly I caught him in an illicit act. I did not know from whence he came until after the battle, and regret only that I could not capture him alive. What intentions the Imperium has here, I suspect you know far better than I.
Briala's people are whispering about disappearances in the servants' quarters. This key may lead there.
The ambassador does have eyes and ears everywhere. does she not? Proceed with caution, Inquisitor. Enemies abound, and not all of them aligned with Tevinter. What comes next will be most exciting.
Okay, now, at what point do I start liking Leliana just a little bit less? If this is that court advisor she was vaguely referring to...
Are we ready to move out?
Hold on.
Have you witnessed anything noteworthy?
Nothing yet. I will let you know.
Stay alert. We don't know where the enemy is hiding.
I'll be watching for trouble. The sooner we leave this place, the better.
Yeah, if that's the advisor that she was talking about, and that she, you know, that she's, in her words, had some experience with her, just leaving everything out. Hell, they, I don't know, ended the Blight together, you know, and regardless of how Morgan left that whole situation, whatever, Leliana has more than just a passing familiarity with Morgan, okay? They spent time at camp together. They started that whole thing together, that entire adventure. Sorry, Leliana being a little too vague there. She's playing the game with me. Not cool. Not cool. One of my chief advisors playing the game here in... Keep your Orlesian bullshit to Orlais and keep it out of the Inquisition. Keep it out of, you know, our sanctuary back at Skyhold. We don't need that there. I mean, I guess essentially the espionage thing is her job, but
Come
yeah.
in, have a drink. What can I do for you? If you're as delighted by the court as I am, there's a decanter of port around here.
I'd like to know more about you.
All of Orlais knows my story, but you, my friend, are far too sensible to be Orlesian. The heart of it is simple. I am the rightful heir to the throne of Orlais. But my cousin, Celene, is a politician, while I am a man of action. She charmed the Council of Heralds. They gave the crown to her, and while it looks fetching on her, I intend to take it back.
What's your claim to the throne?
The 100 Days Cough swept Val Royeaux in 877. It killed thousands of children, royalty and commoner alike. There are only 3 living grandchildren of Emperor Judicael I. Myself, my sister Floriane, and Celene. And I am the eldest. By rights, the crown should have passed to me.
If you're the rightful heir, how did Celene become Empress?
I am the oldest, but I lack the Valmont name. My mother was the late Emperor's sister. Celene is a Valmont. Her honored father was my mother's brother. But she is the youngest. When there is any doubt surrounding the line of succession, the matter falls to the Council of Heralds. Celene outplayed me, forming alliances on the Council for support. So they passed over me in her favor.
So you're just an idiot bull in a china shop then, out of your element.
So you intend to out-negotiate your cousin?
It will take heroic effort on my part, Inquisitor, and a lot of brandy. The talks will take most of the evening. Make her willing, we will emerge triumphant.
I have a question about the peace talks. You didn't extend this invitation out of the goodness of your heart, Grand Duke.
As you might have guessed, I'm not the most political man. If the nobles believe the Inquisition supports me, it will help in negotiations. And I take joy in watching the scandalized expressions when they see us together.
What can you tell me about Celene and Briala?
Brianna may be called ambassador, but she is purely a spy. She works towards some hidden agenda. Elves have no place in politics. Her presence here is suspicious. Celene is a skilled player in the game. She knows how to get her way with a few words and a smile. But the game is a farce. I will prove that a few hundred chevaliers are better than diplomacy.
What will be going on in these negotiations?
We will whittle one another down with words until we are bored into agreement. Celene will talk circles around us, that elf will glower and cast suspicion everywhere, and I will get very drunk. Somehow, by the time they stop serving drinks, our war will be ended. Politics, my friend.
What calamities befall us if they stop serving drinks early?
If we're lucky, another war will break out. I cannot abide the game, my friend. I prefer my enemies armed and facing me. I like clear winners and losers. Give me a battlefield, Inquisitor. I will show you who the victors are. When I am Emperor, there will be changes. No more of this courtier's nonsense. The nobles may not like it, but after a few lose their heads, they'll fall in line.
I'd like to know more about you.
All of Orlais knows my story. The heart, but they gave the crown to her. And while it looks...
Just what are you claiming? Her crown or her head?
If Celene loses her head, it will not be my doing. I want my empire. I do not wish harm on my cousin, but I would not weep at her demise.
I have a question about the peace talks. What are you hoping to achieve at the negotiations?
I intend to take back what is rightfully mine. Celene stole the crown through politicking, but I am the rightful emperor of Orlais. The empire has been mired in intrigue for too long. We need a clear course of action.
What action did you have in mind?
The empire is declining. We cannot allow Nevarra and Ferelden to chip away our borders. I will see Orlais return to glory as the strongest nation in Thedas.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that says a lot.
You intend to return to expansionism.
I like to solve problems in the simplest manner, my friend.
I discovered something you might be interested in. We'll speak later, Duke Gaspard.
Another time, friend.
Several things here. One, if Loghain or prepossessed Loghain were here to hear this guy, he would have chopped off his head right there on the spot and damn the rest, you know. Let whatever come after that. But, yeah, he would take over the world. So essentially, he's as big a threat as the Elder One. It's just he's less powerful without the horde of darkspawn demons and rifts at his disposal. But other than that, he would take over Ferelden and Nevarra and anywhere else.
We will be happy to assist you if we can. Her Imperial Majesty is unfortunately occupied at present.
Perhaps you could tell me something then. We haven't been properly introduced.
How rude of us to forget.
Milady Inquisitor, may I present Lady Couteau?
And Lady Colombe.
And of course, Lady Fleur. We are the Empress's ladies-in-waiting.
I'd like to know more about Empress Celene.
Her Majesty has held the throne since she was just 16 years old.
She is respected and beloved, not just in Orlais, but across Thedas.
She doesn't care much for liver, and she drinks her tea black.
I'd like to know more about the negotiations. It seems strange to hold peace talks during a ball.
Oh, do your people have no customs surrounding great occasions? How sad.
By Orlesian tradition, moments of great solemnity are celebrated with revels and feasts.
While joyous occasions are given time for reflection and contemplation.
We must never forget that life is both bitter and sweet.
The ball is an opportunity to celebrate life and hope for the future, while we mourn those killed in the war.
What can you tell me about the other parties involved in the talks?
Gaspard is a decorated general, much beloved by the Imperial Army, and a legend among chevaliers.
He is better suited to the battlefield than the throne, and he would gladly make his palace a war camp.
He's also fiendishly charming.
Lady Briella has great intentions to change the lives of the elves for the better.
Even if her plans could never work and would only provoke hate crimes against alienages.
She is an idealist, but her lack of patience could prove disastrous.
What is the Empress trying to accomplish with the negotiations?
Peace is her only objective, Inquisitor.
Gaspard and Briella are driven by personal ambitions, but those desires threaten the safety of all Orlesians.
The war must end tonight. We must conclude this to deal with the larger crisis.
Good evening.
Until next time, Inquisitor.
Do take care.
Enjoy the masquerade.
Okay, stop raping me by conversation. Can I get out of this, please? Too much talk.
Inquisitor Adar.
Too little fighting.
The stories claimed you were barely capable of speech. You haven't dazzled the court this evening, but at least you've avoided embarrassing yourself. Well done. What brings you to
Piss on you.
I had a question about you, Briella.
I'm an elf, Inquisitor. That should tell you everything you need to know about my life. I'm good at what I do. And so that matters. I will help my people no matter the cost.
I've been told you were romantically involved with the Empress.
I didn't take you for a gossip monger, Inquisitor. I suppose your spies have already briefed you, so there's no point in pretending. Yes, Celene and I were lovers once, but we've gone our separate ways now.
What's your story? How was an elf invited to the Empress's ball as an ambassador?
Empress Celene and I have history. There was a time when I put my spies at her disposal. She knows my qualifications. We had a falling out. Now we are negotiating to determine whether I return to her side in the war.
What do you mean, we had a falling out?
She betrayed me. Turned me over to the guards on a trumped-up charge to save her political reputation. It wasn't personal. It's the game. That's how all Orlesians justify these things to themselves. It wouldn't do to let the court know she had an elven friend.
If she doesn't win you back to her side, what do you intend to do?
I have contingency plans. I'm not a child putting all my hopes on a single ball. This evening gives me access to Duke Gaspard. He's challenging. Not as progressive or persuadable as his cousin. But with time and sufficient blackmail, he might work with us.
You just told me you have reason to betray the Empress.
I know it's incriminating. Few harbor more resentment against Celene than I. But if she died after inviting me here, the court would certainly pin her death on me. An elf assassinating the Empress? Alienages across Orlais, across all Thedas, would be purged. That cannot happen.
You might be interested in what I've found. We'll speak more later, Ambassador.
Another time, Inquisitor.
What I was trying to do here was follow the advice I was given is to never show your hands. So I have all these cards now of all the dirt that I've collected on these folks up to this point. But I didn't want to tell any of them about what I knew. I didn't know if I was supposed to or not.
Trimmed with pearls and emeralds and those buckles. Toss her into the lake and she'll sink right to the bottom. What a disaster.
There's a Tevinter assassin on the loose and you're concerned about buckles on shoes.
Everyone needs a hobby. Besides, you can learn a great deal about a person from their clothing.
Golden jewels on a dancing slipper. A slipper is easily lost and finds itself in the dust and dirt. She is unconcerned with the possibility of losing the shoe or soiling it. A vulgar display of wealth. But Lady Cambien's family has recently lost most of its holdings. They have their title, but little else. So, how did Cambien acquire such a grand shoe, What has she done? Who has she bedded? These are all useful questions, no?
You're different here than in Skyhold. More approachable, perhaps.
This is Hilamshiral, Inquisitor. This is the Imperial Court. This is the beating heart of the Great Game. Of course, everyone is wearing a mask. I learned this very young. I was still a girl when I attended my first ball. All this, the smiles, the small talk, it is a dance. And like any dance, it can be learned. For some of us, it has become so familiar that the steps may be performed in our sleep.
I'm starting to see cracks in her polish.
I'm not sure of its value.
Very interesting. It may not help our investigation, but we can put it to use. A little more dirt like this, and we might have some leverage in the court. If you find more, let me know.
Who do you think the Inquisition should support?
What we need most of all is a stable Orlais. Either Celene or Gaspard can give us that.
I should go. Be on your guard.
I always am.
I don't mean to play this like it's going to shatter my fragile manhood or anything, but I feel like I've been duped by Leliana ever since the beginning. She was my love interest in Origins, and I mean, I should figure that she's playing games because, you know, she's a bard and she's going to have her secrets, but
becoming the darling of the court, I see.
Maybe she's always been an asshole.
You might be interested in what I've found. It's about you, actually. You murdered negotiators and stole their documents.
In Orlesian politics, Inquisitor, murder and intrigue barely count as trying. If that shocked you, wait until Celene shows her hand.
They're proud of the shit they should be ashamed of.
I know your people are hidden all over the palace.
Of course they are. I'd be a poor spy master if I didn't have spies, Inquisitor.
We'll speak more later, Ambassador.
Another time, Inquisitor.
Okay, so we can sit here and point out the worst facets of their character, and they will actually not only not have a problem with it, but actually respect themselves and each other for it. And wow, I mean, just how bad is it? This is pretty bad. But I'm thinking Leliana, she's one of these. I mean, and has been all along, like to the point that we've been getting played since the beginning. The whole naive schoolgirl act type thing. I mean, we knew some of it was an act, but yeah, I fell for it in Origins, and now I'm starting to see that no, she may be the best master of the game of them all. I think we're gonna find out some really, really bad stuff about her at some point in the future. They're gonna burst my bubble of the starry eyes I had for her, which is what they play off of. And well written, well played, if that's the case. If I find out that she was a snake all along, I'm not saying she's working for the Elder One type of thing. No, not like that. Even worse, camping herself with us. Maybe even some point in her addled mind being completely poisoned with this style of stuff that we see right here. This is what we've had. This is the kind of Viper we've had in our midst all along. I'm not going to say she's directly done us harm, but I don't think she necessarily means us the good that she would claim. You know, I'm seeing cracks in the polish. Several comments now are coming to mind that your party members will make throughout the game. You know, I don't even want to go, like Blackwall, for example. So I don't even want to go to sleep at night. I don't want a knife in the back. Why are you saying that about a chief advisor? Oh shit, I hadn't been listening. You know, if my own party members are saying this, then I've just been blind. And that's kind of embarrassing, actually. So, alright, let's take this key, and we'll go investigate this area. Alright, and this is going to lead to a whole nother adventure, so I think we'll we'll start another one there. But we can go ahead and get our armor on at least and get out of this uncomfortable stiff crap we've been wearing. Right on. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll get to more of this. Hopefully some fighting. We need to get more killing done and less talking. All right, thanks for watching. If you want to subscribe, click that button over my head. For more Inquisition, click the top box. For all my videos, click the bottom box. Take care. Bye-bye.